What if I were to tell you that the MCU after the Infinity War and Endgame were not as bad as people are saying, and even rivals, if obviously it's not as good, but still rivals a little bit pre-Endgame and Infinity War? So what I want to talk to today is just go through a few of the movies, or really all of the movies that MCU has put out. I'm really just talking about movies, not including the TV shows, which I know are important, but there are just so many of them it's hard to keep up with. So I'm just going to talk about the movies. Also going to talk about some of the reasons some people think that the MCU after Endgame is fallen off and why I think that is. So I have my notes, so I'll probably read off my notes a little bit, just because I cannot memorize everything because my memory is absolutely terrible. But MCU started with a bang with Iron Man in 2008. This movie, I'm going to go through some IMDb scores for each of them. I'm also going to just say my opinion as well. Most of this is my opinion. If you differ at all, please let me know in the comments. Iron Man came out in 2008, had a 7.9 on IMDb, which was amazing. Next, Hulk came out in 2008, 6.6. Iron Man 2, 6.9. Thor in 2011 has a 7. Captain America, the First Avenger, only a 6.9 in 2011, which is not, it's okay on IMDb, but not great. Then Avengers comes out. That one did get an 8.0, even though I think that one is a little overrated. I don't know, I just never really got into the first Avenger movie. Iron Man 3 came out next with a 7.1. Thor Dark World then came out with a 6.7, which is, it's regarded as one of the worst MCU movies, I guess, from the first phase. Then Winter Soldier comes out. One of the best movies from that. Has a 7.7 on IMDb. Guardians came out, 8.0. Age of Ultron, the next Avengers movie, with the 7.3, Ant-Man with the 7.2. Then you have Captain America Civil War with 7.8, Doctor Strange with the 7.5, Guardians with the Guardians 2, which honestly I think is a little overrated as well, but has a 7.6. Then you have Spider-Man Homecoming, which is the only Spider-Man movie that came out during before Endgame and Infinity War, and has the lowest rating of or I guess tied for the lowest rating of the three, and honestly probably my least favorite of those. Then you have Thor Ragnarok, which is the best Thor put out there, with a 7.9. Black Panther comes out in 2008 with a 7.3. Then Infinity War and Endgame both got 8.4s. In between that, you got Ant-Man and the Wasp and Captain Marvel, and those got 7 and 6.7 respectively over on IMDb. So all of this will get somewhere, I promise it will. So next I want to go over the scores for after those. So Far From Home, 7.4, Black Widow, 6.6, Shang-Chi, 7.3. Then we have Eternals with a 6.2. We do get some, I'm not gonna lie, there are some misses in this, and while most of the good movies are in the before, that does not mean there's not some absolute bangers in the second one. Then we have No Way Home with an 8.2, which is the highest rated MCU movie outside of the Avengers, Infinity War and Endgame. Then you have Multiverse of Madness, drop back down. This is where we get some clunkers. Thor Love and Thunder with a 6.2, Wakanda Forever with a 6.6. Ant-Man Quantumania with a 6.0, but then we get a great movie, Guardians 3. That was my favorite movie from 2023 when it came out. Got a 7.9. The Marvels didn't do great. I don't know why it got such a low score, because I didn't think it was terrible, but it got a 5.5. Brave New World got a 5.7. But Thunderbolts got a 7.5. What I wanted to say with all of that is while everybody says that the MCU after Endgame and Infinity War fell off, the highest score from the MCU outside of those two movies is after with Spider-Man No Way Home. And then 2 of the top 5 ratings are also from it, with number 1 being Spider-Man No Way Home, and then Guardians 3 with a 7.9, which tied, Thor Ragnarok and Captain America Civil War. No, it wasn't. It actually beat Civil War and Winter Soldier. It tied just Thor Ragnarok. Sorry, I'm reading off this. Guardians. It did beat Guardians and Avengers. So while there are bad movies, there's still some good things coming out. And I want to say why I think that is. First of all, we grew up. I don't want to grow up because I was already in high school when these came out. But when these movies came out, we got to learn, not learn, because once again, I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. We got to really not fall in love with the characters. We get to know the characters, care about the characters. Steve Rogers, Chris Evans as Captain America, Tony Stark, played by Robert Downey Jr., and they were played so well by those. It is hard to get past that. I think because of that, and we're getting these new characters now, and since we're so used to these other characters, they're gone, and it's almost like we're trying to compare the two when they're totally different characters. And I think if these came out before anything else, people would have thought these movies were better than before, and just really because these new characters are coming out, I think people are like trying to just compare the two with that. Also, I think there's a little bit of perspective where it's no secret. Everyone, I think 99.9% of people watching this, I think, will agree that Infinity War and Endgame were peak MCU. That is where it just, everything was clicking, everything was good, the stories all together. Those are two of the best movies ever made, / obviously the two best movies from Marvel that's put out. And I think since then we have been comparing it to that. So we like to talk about how they fall off now, but there are a lot of bad movies from the first before as well. Like the first, honestly, Doctor Strange got a 7.5. I didn't think it was that great. The first Captain America movie got a 6.9, and one is not that great either. A lot of people complain about Iron Man 2, which wasn't great. A lot of people complain about Iron Man 3, which I thought actually was pretty good. Thor: Dark World is always talked about as one of the worst MCU movies that there is. And I feel like people forget about that because of Infinity War and Endgame just tied everything together so well that we're just unfairly judging these new movies. And that could be just me. I don't know. Another reason I think this could be happening where people are just burnt out with superheroes. There was 22 movies. There was a great conclusion. And a lot of people are like, it should have just ended right there, which I understand that point of view. And then with the DCEU putting out and all these different people trying to now start these like universes within their movies, I understand there is a burnout with it. And then especially Kevin Feige, or I don't know how to pronounce his name, put out so many TV shows after Endgame. And there was just so much to keep up with that I stopped watching the TV shows just because of how much there was to keep up with. I wasn't interested in a lot of them. And I think that's where where they started to go downhill as well. But like I said, there's still a lot of great movies. Like Guardians 3 was one of my favorites. It's the best of the trilogy. No Way Home is the best of the trilogy. Multiverse of Madness was the better, for me at least, out of the Doctor Strange movies, and Wanda in that movie I thought was absolutely amazing. She kind of took over Doctor Strange's role from it. I thought Marvel's was better than Captain Marvel. And then Thunderbolts as well. I thought they did very well. I think they're getting this back on track. Thunderbolts came out, it didn't do great at the box office, and I think because all of the burnout that is happening, but it still got a good grade, and it has been my favorite movie of the year. And I think there's a lot of hope as well for this. So there's four new MCU movies coming out in the next couple of years. The next one being Fantastic Four, which comes out this month, I believe. To be honest, I'm not too excited about it, but I'm gonna open to give it a shot. I like all the actors: Joseph Quinn, Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby. I think they're all great, so I'm excited for it. And then we still have Avengers: Doomsday and Secret Wars coming out next year and the year after that. And we have not had an Avengers movie since Endgame, so I'm excited to see how that is going to play out. And I think these movies will bring the MCU back up to what we think it should be at when we were expecting it, like the Infinity War and the Endgame level, because even Age of Ultron people were complaining about it. But like I said, I think once Endgame, Infinity War happened and these movies come out, everybody's just comparing it to those old ones, expecting kind of the same thing when these new characters are coming about. And we also have another Spider-Man called Brand New Day, which honestly, I think each Spider-Man movie has got better as they are making them, so I'm excited for that one as well. Like I said, these are all just my opinions. I believe while people are saying that the MCU has fallen off, and it has a little bit, but I don't think it's fallen off as much as people have been saying. They're still putting out quality stuff. Like I said, 2 of the top 5 and the top #1 rated movie from the MCU comes from after Endgame and Infinity War with No Way Home. And we're getting another Spider-Man. We're getting 2 more Avengers Endgame. So I'm thinking it's looking up from here. Let me know what you think though in the comments, and hit that subscribe button. Peace.